G'day everyone, welcome to the Opal Mills. Today we're going to be working with 18 karat gold again. So this time what I've been asked to do is take these opals out of, and I can only say whatever it is, metal that is, and yeah, we're going to set it in 18 karat, all four of these. Similar style bracelet, except not claws. We're going to do bezel setting. So with that will come a couple of changes, obviously one being the bezel, but open backs will be closed, and we're going to try and replicate a chain. This will be my first time doing a chain so fine, and I'm yet to see if I can do it, which is part of the challenge of this piece. So I'm up for the challenge. Gonna see if I can make a chain. We've gone and bought the wire, wrong end, the clasp, and we've got some sheet for the bezel and backs, and solder in hard and medium, hard and soft. So the soft is going to go for the wire, just because I only want the solder to just hold the joints shut. It's not for so much just strength. If you pull too hard on this, it will pull out of shape, you know, before the joins go, so it'll be wrecked either way. But you want the joins shut, but I don't want to risk it with heavy solder, so I'm using easy, just to ease of getting the solder on there. It flows at a lower melting point, which means I don't have to bring the gold up to such a high temperature to get it to flow, risking melting my chain. So let's have a look at these opals. Some quite absolutely stunning colour in these, and yeah, definitely worth 18 karat all day for that kind of colour. Let's have a look at it out the case. So I've only ever seen this with a black background. No, that's striking colour. And it's going to have a bit of a goldish back for that to bounce off of. Wow, very nice opals. So yeah, challenge one, can we make a chain this small? So we'll see how I fare. Okay, so to think about replicating this chain, we're going to kind of need to look at the design of it. And it looks like a flat bar with one bent around one end, one bent around the other. So we're going to try and replicate that, but I'm going to practice in silver first, in something so fine, and see what length I'm going to need and all that sort of thing. So rather than start at 18 karat, be an expensive lesson. So I'm going to get set up with some tools to start getting this into shape, and if I can shape it with the tools I've got. Alright, so I'm going to try and get away with using these, some some flat pliers, curved tip, and curved round pliers. So the idea is going to be figure out how much I'm going to need as an overhang to curve around, then bend a 90-degree bend there, and then do another one up in reverse the other way. So to do this, I'm thinking if I can guess how much that's going to go, say about that much, to curve back in and around on itself, and where I'm holding it is where the bends can go. So if we bend one way, one the other, and we form the first part. Now I'm working on a slightly larger scale, unfortunately, I think. chain's going to be a little bit bigger. But then again, this is the only silver wire I've got. I think it's a bit bigger than 0.5, but the 18 carat I've got is 0.5. So with that, let's see if I can get this to curl around. See if we can't bring it in line. We can shape that up in a sec a bit better. Just making sure I've got a definite sharp turn on that. And there we've sort of replicated the link. Get our snips. Fiddly little thing. The wire keeps trying to turn on me. So once I've got that soldered in, I can sort of bring it in a bit more. So I might even try and do that now. Just want it to scrunch up a touch more, so it's not as wide. So I'm going to flatten this out a bit. Just sneak a blade. There's a bit of a burr on the end of this round. So we get that to come down. There we go. So I'm going to have to flatten that out a bit with the anvil with a mallet. And I'll make these up like that and solder some together and then leave some open to join and solder to join them all together. And we'll see if I can just make a little chain and what it looks like, how well this comes together. So yeah, here goes. Okay, so here's our test subjects. I think these 5 can be soldered shut and these 4 will get put on to link them together. So I've had these sitting in a pickle. So I'm just going to lay them out. Sorry about that. Trying to spread them out and not touch them with my hands again. Okay, so for this one, we're going to use some medium round silver solder. Don't want to use hard. I'm going to practice as I'm going to be using easy solder or soft solder, whichever you prefer to call it. And these are only just to close up the links. These aren't for load bearing structural joins. So I'm just going to chop up some very fine little tiny bits of this because we really don't need much and I don't want it to go everywhere. So I'll just chop some up and come back. Okay, as you can see, some really tiny pieces. And this is the size of the wire that we're using. So we really don't need much solder at all. So we're going to get a bit of flux on the situation. Okay, so we've got our solder on. Not sure if you're going to be able to see that. piece has 2 pieces on it. I'll try and see if this works. It's moved already. Oh, that took a little bit. Alright, straight out the pickle. Hasn't been in there long. Just long enough to give it a little bit of a tidy up. Now to see if we can link these together at all. Just try to open one of these up. Not quite touching properly this side. I'm just going to play around with this and get them all linked and come back. It's going to be fiddly. Alright, actually it was a little bit fiddly, but once I got the hang of doing this, there we go. So, that's said and done. Let's go see if I can solder these up. I'm going to go do it and just come back because I reckon I'm going to get pretty frustrated. And I've got to do very careful joins not to heat these to get that solder to run, because some of the solder ran around the inside of these ones, so I don't want them to stick to these ones. And I'll just come back in a minute. Alright, so there we go. It worked. Now, it's not quite there yet. Shape's not right. Yeah, no, I might leave them like this. They sort of don't twist on themselves anyway, so that's a good thing because you don't want the thing twisting around on itself too much. So that's a bit of an anti-twist. So no, I'm going to leave them like that. And that's the practice one anyway. So let's try this in gold. So for this, let's introduce the gold. Alright, that didn't take half long. So again, we have here, so clasp, some wire for the chain, it's very fine, it's 0.5 mil. A flat sheet. We're making some bezel and backs out of. And then we have easy solder, hard solder. Yes, so first things first, start making a chain. Let's get all the tools set up again and come back. All right, here's our start. Link 1. So to do this, it's a little bit of a change and a bit of a muck around. So these have got sort of 2 different sizes. This side is slightly smaller than this side, so this one gets a tighter turn, which is our inside track. And to do that, just going to grab him right by the tip, and I've got a little mark on there I've sort of spotted, that little silver sort of mark right up in front of my nail now, where that grey to silver or white coloration is. That's around how far down I want to bring it. So right there, and then just bring it right round in a half circle till we get that shape. That's got to be pinched in a sec, which I'll do now, so we can tell how wide we want this. So it's probably a little bit of a tight turn, but that's going to change in a sec. We just need to get it down so we know where to start bending it across. And to do that, again, different size tips on this. So we're going to use this smaller one. We just need a bend in it. So we're going to pinch it even where you can see that tip just comes down to there. Make sure they're level. And just bend it sideways. Nice sharp turn, and then we'll turn him around to be straight. There. So we now have that for our second link. Alright, pinch him in the middle and bring him around. Alright, with a little bit of manipulation, we bring it into shape. Okay, we're on a bit of a roll. Let's keep going. Again, I'll probably just montage a bit of this. It's going to take a few, and we haven't got all day. Okay, so this is either the weirdest mathematical equation you're ever going to see, or my attempt at making a chain. We're going to hit it with a blowtorch and put some solder on it and see which one of those it is. Right, so let's highlight just how fiddly a job like this is. You have to go around and give it each one a little drop of flux before we can even start any soldering at all. Wow, that bike was flying. So there we go. That's that. Now we've got to burn this off, which will leave a coating of the flux on there, and give me easy access to put some very, 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 very tiny pieces of solder. When you've got a pinch scale, here's the tip of my little prongs, which are kind of tiny enough as it is. These are even, yeah, we don't need much and we don't want it to go too far. Let's just burn this flux off and turn the gas on. Start there. Alright, so that didn't take too long. Now I've just got to go around and place the solder on each of those 2 joins on each of these, so that's 20 pieces on these 10 links alone. I won't make you watch this, it'll be too painful. I'll come back in a sec. Alright, so we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm just going to hit them because I know they're going to move around and frustrate me, and setting them all up. I'll do it in different stages. So here goes nothing. Alright, let's get these last ones done. There we go. Alright, so I might as well show you this while the links are in the pickle. We'll chop more solder for the next round. So there was 10 links requiring 20 pieces of solder, and now we're going to have 3 links going, one each end, one in the middle to link those links, which is 3, 6, 12, 18, 24, 30 pieces I've got to cut up. And this is a bit time consuming to get them all the right size so you don't end up with too much solder flying around everywhere. So we'll see how long this takes me. Starting now. There. Alright, now a bit of an arduous task. I'm going to get these, linking these. So I'll come back as I do this. Let the games begin. So now I've got to try and get that solder of those 2 joins in the middle there without heating these 2 up and having the solder from these run around and link. Same problems I had with the silver when I was doing it. And I've left these ends open at this end just in case, so only got 1 to solder there on each end. So there'll be 4 joins at the moment per link, so there'll be a total of 16 at the moment. 4 times 5, Phil, it's 20. So I'm going to go over and do this, and I'll show you one way or another what I do. Hopefully I don't melt any of it. Okay, so that was fun. Got all the links together. I do have to link up these 3 together, these 2 together, and the ones in between, and yet to put the clasp and a loop on it. We're going to start on the settings though. So for this, we have a 10 by 40 mil, I think it's half mil, 0.8, something anyway. And we're going to maximize this to do the bezels and the bases for these stones. So these stones won't need more than a 2 mil side. So 2 mil, 2 mil leaves 6 mil, which is what's going to be needed, which these are just under 5mm in width. So that plus that will equal around 6mm, which will be our base. So cutting it fine, but I'm going to persevere this way anyway. So I'm going to use these dividers, and we're going to set them at 2mm, which they probably are already. And I'm just going to run a couple of lines down so I can cut this, and I'll come back. Okay, so now with the snips, I'm going to try and just follow that line very carefully. We don't really have anything to waste. Cover that later. So hard to see this line. Yes. Gently uncurl these. Okay, so here's the part. We're going to have to take a stone out of here to wrap a bezel. And we need to keep track of all these because each one, they're not exactly perfectly calibrated, and so there are going to be slight differences and inconsistencies from one stone to the next. For instance, I think it's this one here has a bit of a shallower front than back. This side than this side at the tip in depth. So I'm going to have to account for that when setting. But for the most part, we're going to get this one, make a setting, keep track of them all, and make sure they go back in the setting that they were created for. So first things first, we're going to have to take a stone out of here. To do this, I'm just going to use a prong pusher to pry one out. Let's see if I can get this for you. So that'll be the prong pusher. I'm just going to unpush the prongs. Take the first stone out. This is going to be fun. It's a nice sharp little point there. Well, here's what it is. Alright, one down. Pull the next stone out. good here. Absolutely nothing to do with me. I can't see any. None of that is the corner of this stone. We have a bit of a, where did it go, chip. Or am I mistaken? Looks like a little something went wrong there. The last person set this. I'm not sure if it's just the way they finished the stone or if that's broken out. Not sure if you can get zoomed in enough. Right in that corner there. I reckon that's just the way they finished the stone up. Nonetheless, noticed. So there, you can see it even better. Right on that corner. Hopefully that won't affect the bezeling process. Anyway, let's do the next one. Alright, so here we are. They've all got their new homes. I'm just going to solder these together, get them into a nicer, perfect shape for the stones. Some of them are a little bit out, but the right distance round. And get the backs on. Stop playing, Phil. Okay, so here we go, all soldered. We've got our stamp on this one down here. Now we're going to separate these and tidy them up, ready to link the chain between them. And the rest of it, almost on the home leg as far as constructing it goes. I don't mind the polish up, it's the soldering that's nerve-wracking. Anyone who's attempted all this, even with silver, you'll understand that. That little nervous, oh, don't mess it up feeling you get. Anyway, on with it. So we're just tidying these up. Let's zoom in. Filing the edges, getting ready for the attaching links. And here's the lengths of chain that we've made for each side of the bracelet, alongside these pieces for in the middle. Alright, so we got it all soldered together, and I thought I'll just give it a quick pre-polish just to get things cranking along here before we come back and set. So there's our chain, every link soldered, all the settings, and our clasp. So now what I've done is made some little ovals up for steps in these settings, due to the fact that the stones are slightly different sizes. Some have 2 steps, some have 1 step, but we'll see how we go setting them. And I'm a bit nervous because the stones are quite small, very thin, and easily broken. So I'll get set up, get the bezeling tools out, and we'll start with the first one and see how far we get. Okay, so we've got a few different weapons of choice in our first stone. Very tiny. And it's going to take some very gentle persuasion. So now it's just a matter of crimping the top over gently and not smashing the stone. It's more handy for you guys so I don't keep getting my hands in the way. Try not to hit the chain. I'll put an ever so gentle, but just enough, not enough, just enough pressure. I'm going to slowly work this over. This is going to take some time by the feel of it. Alright, there we go. That wasn't half painstakingly bad. Awesome colours. So now for the polish. So I'm just going to start back with the 800. Get all these marks out and get on with the polish, and I'll just come back after that. You've all seen the polish. Alright, so here's the finished product. And I can't believe I just finally completed it 3 weeks. It's taken about 3 weeks to complete this, including making the practice bit of chain out of silver, and then trying to replicate that in gold and thinner wire. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with it, to be honest. Some really nice stones. each with their own little setting, separated by a chain link. It's got a loop and clasp this end. There you go. So it should sit nicely. Can't believe it's finished. So, let's have a look at a bit of behind the scenes footage. So now it's just a matter of crimping the top over gently and not smashing the stone. No. Oh no. So yeah, unfortunately, this one didn't make it. It'll still be cut into a smaller stone, I'm sure. I won't be doing that. But I was able to replace the stone nonetheless. As best I could. Similar body tone, similar coloration. Might be slightly better than the other stones in there, to be honest, in my opinion. And it'll be this one here. Similar reds in it. This one had quite a bit of colour. So I think I matched it reasonably well. And I think that's sort of understood. This is why a lot of jewelers will actually not want to work with other people's stones because the breakage, they don't want it to fall on them, and then of course people want a jeweler that's going to assure them their stone won't be broken. So it kind of makes things difficult, and they just avoid the whole thing. And yeah, I can understand that a lot more now. I'd rather these be my stones, and I wouldn't have been too fussed about, well, I would have cut them and known exactly what I'm up for. I don't seem to have a problem setting my stones, but anyway, that's a highlighted reason why. So anyway, I might include some extra footage, some low light. If you're interested, stick around. Otherwise, catch you next video. Cheers.